The jobs that everybody wants, that pay well, that have the benefits, that have cool bosses, are never gotten purely online. Like, okay, Indeed, boom, I got it. Most of those jobs are gotten through somebody who you know, somebody who you have heard before. How the hell do we normal people get that? My name is Sergey Ross. I have lived in Canada for 7.5 years. I had 9 jobs in Toronto. I changed them a lot, which I can talk about in the future. And now I run an agency online that does content video production for marketing stuff. And I'm a marketer myself. Canadian job market is mega competitive and it's getting worse. More people, fewer jobs, not great pay, etc. Super hard to find. And you send resumes, you don't really hear back. You go to job interviews, you maybe go through a few stages and you don't get callbacks. Well, that sucks. That is super frustrating. It's super demotivating and it doesn't even get any better. The single biggest thing that makes you competitive, and for any job in Canada and actually in other countries too, it's your presence online. What does that mean? It's your brand online. It's you creating something that shows your skills, that shows your creativity, that shows who you are to more people than just yourself and to more people than your employer. Now, I had these conversations with a few people and they said, well, I don't really know how to do this. I work in a highly technical role, or I work in a law environment and I don't really know how to start posting content. You have to get to figure this out. Now, it doesn't really take a lot of effort. All you have to do, you need to figure out how to stand out in the market. And to stand out in the market, you need to do something beyond the resume, to show your skills and to show up consistently online where your future employer and other folks will be hanging out. So what you need to do is you need to find who is going to be your employer. You go on LinkedIn and you don't look for recruiters, you actually look for people who are going to hire you, right? So you look for job titles of your boss, who is a director or VP or whoever, right? Then you identify what is your job, what are your responsibilities, and then you need to decide what kind of content can you be posting about your work that would be interesting to your employer, that also demonstrates your experience, creativity, and all of that stuff. You can start a podcast. For example, you're going for director of operations, you're going for manager of operations, marketing operations in Canada. Well, you go and interview directors of operations. You find them on LinkedIn, you find those companies, and then you send them a message. Hey, I'd like to interview you for this show. And most of them will say yes. At least 50% of them will say that. And then now you have a potential opportunity to get a connection, understand what they're doing, and say, hey, by the way, I'm doing this. I'm also in operations, and here's what I do, and I would love to connect with you. Or maybe you don't really like to speak on audio or video. I totally get that. Then you actually go and do an article. Maybe you start writing articles, series of posts on LinkedIn. Then you talk about the industry, you talk about the previous stuff that you have done, you talk about operations. You could even literally go and find, for example, biggest challenges in marketing operations right now. You find it on Google, then you rephrase it and you start posting it as if from your name. Use ChatGPT, rewrite it a little bit, and now you're going to start showing up in search on LinkedIn. Now, as you do that, we use LinkedIn for this example because it's the primary platform, right? You're not really connected to any of the director of operations, so it doesn't really work very well. What you need to do is you need to find them on LinkedIn. You need to use Sales Navigator, find those people, connect with them, send them a connection request. So when they accept, then they're going to see stuff you posted. And then over time, you need to build trust. And then over time, you're going to stand out from all those candidates. Now, it will take time. It's a few months, at least 2-3 months of actively posting 4 or 5 times a week. So almost every post a day. So it takes a lot of work and there is no shortcut, but this is by far the best way to stand out. And it was the only way for me to get jobs that I would have lost thousands times over to candidates who are way better. But I got it because I did a podcast and I knew people, and then I reached out and they said, oh, so-and-so is looking for a marketing manager, director, etc. And they put me in touch, and boom, I'm getting the job. Because what matters in job search, it's trust. It's somebody that you know, somebody that you have heard before, you read before. It's a totally complete game changer. Complete game changer when people read you online. But you need to be posting something that makes sense. You need to be posting something that is trending from your perspective, that is aligned with the job, and you have to be doing that quite consistently. And you need to also think about distribution. Meaning people who are you targeting with this post need to see it. So you need to send it to them, you need to connect with them, you need to direct them to your posts. And those are bad news because that means you need to be a marketer, somebody like me. And I know it sucks and it takes a lot of work and like WTF, why should I have to do this? I just need the job. But you may be able to get a job, but the jobs that everybody wants, that pay well, that have the benefits, that have cool bosses, that have cool startups, mid-sized companies, enterprise companies. Most of those jobs are never gotten taken purely online, purely like, okay, Indeed, boom, I got it. Most of those jobs are gotten through somebody who you know, somebody who you have heard before, or referrals. And how the hell do we normal people get that? By consistent presence online, by building your reputation and continuously doing that. TikTok is a good channel. LinkedIn, 100%. LinkedIn. A podcast, you can start one for free with Spotify. Those are the things, those are the tools that you can use for free with effort on your side to stand out from almost everybody else. Because most people, most job candidates I have spoken to, they just don't want to do any of that. They really don't. Why would they? And so you end up sending resumes, you end up not getting callbacks. And sometimes like you're a really qualified person, right? Like for example, I was a super qualified candidate, but I can't even get in the door. Like, no, I can't even start a conversation because I already lost before the first stage of interviews have begun. So you need some way to get there, and this is the way to get there. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. My name is Sergey Ross. I have lived in Canada for 7.5 years. I had 9 jobs in Toronto. I changed them a lot, which I can talk about in the future. And now I run an agency online that does content video production for marketing stuff. And I'm a marketer myself. I see you later.